when we saw that we have partners here, we have our clients here, we have even someone from Atlassian here in our eazyBI community days, we said, okay, let's do a bit of discussion and let's see how it comes. How come that we are all together here, friendly, nice, in a nice atmosphere, and let's simply try to find out why it's working so smoothly in Atlassian ecosystem. So that's why my pleasure today is to invite our guest speakers for our panel discussion. So I start with Raimonds because he's already there. So Raimonds already is talking today. We have here Sven Peters from Atlassian joining us, and it's, as said, first time we have someone from Atlassian joining our eazyBI community days. So I will invite Stefan from Prepend to join us for a discussion. And also Rodrigo, who I think is one of the furthest destinations who were flying here for our event from Brazil, so from Nimble Evolution. So please take your seats, guys. And as said, as an introduction, so exactly this idea came from the fact that we are all here and together in a nice atmosphere. So the first question will be kind of a round question for all of our participants, and exactly touching the point on what do you think is the secret ingredient of what makes the Atlassian ecosystem partners, clients, vendors who are preparing the apps, app vendors, solution partners. How do we all fit under this one big umbrella called Atlassian ecosystem? And from my point of view, it works successfully. So I also hope you see it like that, and maybe you can give your idea why does it work like that. So who wants to start?
I can start. So if I remember that when I came to the first Atlassian event in 11 years ago in 2013 in Amsterdam, so before that I was in a company, we were partners with Oracle, and so then have been to different Oracle events, and at that time, so this first Atlassian event was very different for me when I compared my previous experience, because in Oracle case, so you mostly got, you could communicate with your local sales office, and then maybe you went to some events where some well, typically you couldn't meet with any developers, and so you couldn't influence anything and what they're doing. And so that was very different in case of Atlassian at that time. That I really saw that Atlassian is very interested in partners, helping to extend the product, sharing all the information, and really helping and enabling partners to do successful businesses. So, and nowadays, when I look at the Atlassian marketplace, is one of the role models for many different other competitors which try to repeat that. So currently, after 10 years when Atlassian has grown, so it sometimes is harder and for any growing organization, but I still feel that it's Atlassian is trying to help partners to thrive, and which helps it. As well as between partners, I think we have found a good way how to do this competition, that sometimes we are cooperating, some marketplace vendors are competing, but we still are able to share the knowledge and approaches, and we are very much cooperating when we are in different events and trying these solutions which would benefit all of us. So that's my short answer.
Good. Who wants to take the next round?
Yeah, I can add that we are all aimed at the same goal, that it's to make the end user, the customer, job easier. So Atlassian provides the solutions, vendors add more functions to it, and we as partners, we help to integrate all of this to provide that goal, to make the job easier for the end users.
Mm-hmm. Kind of everyone having their role to fill. Mm-hmm. Good. Who else wants to add?
Well, I would like to add something, because I started my career in the Atlassian ecosystem about 10 years ago, But I really felt I was operating from the shadows, let's say. And then when you start going to the first events, community events, you meet like-minded people, and you struggle with the same challenges, and that's really inspiring, I suppose. And then later on, when it became more of a profession to dedicate myself to Atlassian products, you go to different events organized by partners or by Atlassian themselves, and all of a sudden you see the same people that you met 10 years ago, and they're still there, and they're still struggling, but they're struggling with different things, and so are you. So it's yeah, you feel the common path, also from the upside down, downside up.
Thank you.
So, yeah, without the ecosystem, Atlassian wouldn't have grown so much. So, we really depend on the ecosystem, and I think the secret is maybe Atlassian has realized that pretty early when they started, that there were so many requests of features within Jira and Confluence that Atlassian said we can't handle that, and we don't want to go into all these, I wouldn't call it niches, but all these different use cases that different companies have. So let's just like try to build a whole ecosystem around the platform that we're building, and take that seriously, and not seeing the ecosystem as someone who just like wants to make business with us and we make business with them, but really an extension of Atlassian, basically. It's not just like it's an extension of our products, but it's really an extension of Atlassian. And not only just like building the technical platform. And I don't know what we did right in the early days to have this great culture in this ecosystem. I don't know. I also feel the same when I went to my first Atlas Camp, which is the developer conference for the ecosystem partners from Atlassian, I think in 2011. And it really felt like a whole community coming together, and everyone's chatting and everyone's friendly. And building this community, I think from day one, they wanted, the founders and the early starters of the ecosystem wanted to build a real community around the products, just like, because, as I said, we cannot succeed without the ecosystem. We need the marketplace vendors to extend our tools. There are so many different teams with different needs in the world that we cannot handle all those requests. So we need the marketplace vendors, but also we need the whole like friendly community to just like build around the whole ecosystem by just like running these events, building these events. Building a community, actually, it's a real online community for everyone to just like get question answered. All of these things just like builds to this whole like what we see now, the whole ecosystem of the Atlassian vendors.
Yeah, thank you. I think that gives kind of a good summary of everything just that was mentioned before. So I do have some questions to each of you. So I will start with Stefan. We mentioned that there are like many apps, also integrations possible. And how do you see, or how do you think, how the clients can benefit from actually this integrations, and let's say this opportunity to have many apps combined to get the right result for the client? And maybe you have some good examples, or what you have been combining together to offer the client to make them feel that that's the right solution for them?
Well, yeah, as you know, the Atlassian marketplace is quite exhaustive. There's more than 2,000 marketplace apps to choose from. But yeah, let's say the big five are known to us. We have hands-on experience with it. So we are also able to go a bit further, explaining to the customer how it works. But of course, we also can't keep track of all of them. So we kind of separate duties. Within our team, we have some specialists in one tool and some specialists in the other, or some specialists in a group of tools that serve the same purpose. So test case management or reporting. But besides that, I think we can only say on the sideline, and I prefer personally to have the customer experience the apps themselves. So first make them aware that not every app is just a feature list that you check with checkboxes. It really has to fit your particular use case. And features can feel differently even though they seem to be present in multiple apps. In case the cloud instance, they can use the sandbox, for instance. So I advise go to the sandbox, install the app, and try to configure it and see what comes out. Another thing is that I would like to advise to customers, or I always advise to customers, is to do a proper comparison. So I build a matrix, put in the apps that are optionally a solution, and check whether there is a lot of downloads and installs. Check if there are good reviews, but also check how many reviews there are. Read the comments, check the documentation, check if they have a support page, check if they enter any bounty programs or cloud readiness criteria. And then I leave it up to the customer to make the decision. We can only nudge in the right direction.
Thank you. Anyone has something to add to the question or to the answer? No? Good. Okay, I do have a question to Rodrigo now, and I wanted to ask, maybe you can give us some practical or some example, real life example from how you have been able to resolve some challenge, whether it's coming from a team, from a client, using some community support or some partnership or collaboration of some different apps in the ecosystem.
Sure. So as partners, we deal with a lot of customers. So we see a lot of different scenarios. And in some cases, we need to use different apps and also open support tickets. So a few days ago, I was checking again the support page of eazyBI, and I saw in the all conversations, I saw a list of, I don't know how many are loaded at once, but maybe 20. Then I had the load more action, which I did, and then I did again and again, and then I didn't see any more because only the last 100 are shown. So maybe the people from support team know me by my email. So it's nice to meeting you. eazyBI support is one of the best. I always recommend. But not just eazyBI that I use it a lot, but also the support from Atlassian, the support channel. So a case that I can share that will give you more details tomorrow, but just to tease you a little bit, it's a scenario where we needed to do a cleanup in Jira because there was a lot of duplicated configuration items. So status, custom fields, workflows, because anyone could be a Jira admin. So there was a lot of stuff that didn't need to be there, so we needed to do the cleanup, but we also needed to report how this work was in progress. And it's not something quite easy to get these informations from Jira unless you go to the page and maybe count how many items are per page multiplied by the number of pages. So with eazyBI, we were able to get those informations from Jira, but using Jira REST API. So we needed to go through a lot of the documentation of the API, consult the community, ask for the support team, and then we were able to build some reports related to how many configuration items are in Jira.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else has some example on community support or partnerships? Okay, fine. It's okay not to have anything to add. It's also okay.
I might have one.
Okay,
if
go
it's
on.
I'm not sure if it's relevant, but it's been in my mind because I had a conversation about it earlier.
Okay.
So it's about Atlassian recently announcing that they would limit certain objects on Jira issues, among which work logs. So anyone who would be using Tempo timesheets, for instance, as an app, would notice that they are instructed by Tempo as a best practice to have something called an internal issue, where they can log generic hours. And for those customers, it turned out that many of them had much more than the set limit of 5,000 Jira issues. I'm not sure Atlassian was aware of this until they put out the community blog post, which got a lot of reactions in a really short time. And the community started to share concerns, for one, and secondly, their workarounds that they proposed. And I was refreshing the page all the time. Because I had 5 customers who were also aware of the change and were very concerned. Meanwhile, I thought of a solution, or at least how to find those issues. And eazyBI can report on these things, but not out of the box. Especially not when it concerns Tempo data. But with some help from eazyBI support, I managed to import the work log count as a measure in an eazyBI. And I could use that to find the issues that were how many work logs they have. So then I got a list and I could replicate the same, duplicate it to other customers. Immediately did that, and I found out that all of the customers who were concerned were indeed affected by 1 to 3 issues that had a lot of work logs. I could go one step further and make a nice graph to see the growth of the work logs over time, so they can predict how long it would take before you reached another threshold, given the workaround that was proposed. And I could share my results with Tempo directly, because we have good contacts with some people at Tempo. I don't know if that helped in their discussion with Atlassian. But Atlassian then now decided to postpone it to at least give customers some time to implement the workaround. For me, this was a confirmation of how it should work and why it is beneficial to cooperate.
Yeah, I think it's a really great example you shared. Okay.
In addition, I can share that, as I mentioned, that we have a good cooperation between different marketplace partners as well. And for example, we have one. There is some public community developers at Atlassian.com site where we can share some concerns, but we have also our private Slack workspace where we can talk about things which Atlassian doesn't see, so then sometimes tell some honest opinions about some new things. But this is very good also how we share our knowledge between different marketplace vendors. And if you have someone has some question, well, I'm seeing this strange thing, so does with some APIs, does anyone see something else? Or, well, we are now considering implementing SOC 2 certification, so does anyone have some good suggestions how to do that? And so as many of us are doing some similar things on which we are not directly competing, we are still very open, sharing and helping each other, and that I like in the Atlassian Marketplace partner community, how we are trying to help each other with different things.
Yeah, right. I think that makes this Atlassian ecosystem so special. So Raimonds, actually, next question is to you about this one more thing that you were talking today in the morning and about AI. And how do you see, like, can there be, or there's no way it can anyhow influence this community, Atlassian community interactions between the teams and also maybe customer support. So you have been digging into this AI topic for some while now, and do you have any perspective on this one?
Well, this is a new interesting area regarding all the AI technologies and so how it will evolve. But so currently, one thing which probably isn't yet as good, that currently we are in kind of AI nuclear arms race that everyone tries to develop. All the bigger names try to do something very fast and grab the market. And maybe also something that Atlassian is trying, so doing a lot of things in AI, but not quite opening it for the partner ecosystem yet. So it's, and probably in this area we don't have yet so good cooperation yet, that everyone is trying to experiment and trying to do something, but in future I think it would be good that we could share more our experience in that area, how to use these technologies, how to, so not to reinvent the wheel. And as in our case, so I see this as a supporting technology, so that we are not an AI company, so we are seeing that how we can use these new large language models to help provide better support, and we are ready to share our experience and approaches with others. And I think also for majority of ecosystem vendors also, this will not be a primary thing that they are doing, but just another tool. But currently, probably still everyone is trying to use this as competitive advantage. But probably when everyone will do that, so then we will be able to share our experience more. And so where we are seeing, and maybe some others are seeing, where these large language models, so they can read things very fast and write things very fast. So where I see that how to process this knowledge that we have in a lot of different documentation and community sites and support conversations, and how to provide questions faster. And also, when we have some questions about Atlassian APIs, so then probably sometimes it's in a documentation or in some community thread discussing somewhere or somewhere else. And so one perspective, what we are trying to use it for, how to find relevant information faster, so that we could use that instead of just remembering, oh, maybe I need to ask that person. But if we would have this shared information and get using these natural language questions, and then we have the tools that now we'll try to find the answers from all the different places. So that's my current thinking about this area.
Yes, Sven, maybe you have something to add from Atlassian perspective on AI?
So if you would have asked me, what was it 1.5 years ago when ChatGPT came out, I would say, yeah, it's revolutionized everything. But now, 1.5 years later, I would say, yeah, it's another technology, right? It's not just like writing my code, right, as a programmer, not writing my code. It's helping me, it's assisting me to write code, but it's not really writing my code. I was just like hoping that now, just like I can go on vacation and the AI will take over. But it's getting a little bit slower, and as you said, well, also at Atlassian, it was just like a big wave all of a sudden, that we had a lot of AI initiative within the company, but now everyone was talking about AI, so we had to bring it together with Atlassian Intelligence. But these AI initiatives were already running. We just like had to bring it together. But it's also just like it's a very fast move right now, and as I think it's like with every technology wave, we will just like calm down a little bit and then realize what are really the benefits that AI can give us in the next 5 years. It's not writing my code. I still have to write my code. I need to just like look at what the AI has actually written to just like say it's good quality code or not good quality code. With large language model, that probably helps us a lot. I just like needed to do a new presentation. And I know we have a big Confluence instance at Atlassian, and everything is in there from day one from Atlassian. So I just like knew that, and I wanted to do a talk about our cloud how we moved to the cloud. And I remembered that the name was The Rise of the Machines, the project name, back in 2012, when we just like had our, I think, second cloud attempt called The Rise of the Machines. And I was just like searching with a normal Confluence search, and yeah, everyone that searched with Confluence knows the results are sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But I asked the AI, just like, what was this project? And it gave me a whole summary of the whole project with all the pages, and that was amazing. And that helped me a lot. I mean, I've had to look for this information a lot, and this is already there. This is already, but the rest with AI, I think we have to still a little bit wait to see the real benefit of it. And also, what are we doing with this data now? The privacy concerns that we have with this data. That's another thing that we have to take care about.
Yeah, thanks. Now we are talking about some big changes that has hit us recently, and actually those changes are happening all the time, especially in the technology sector. So, how do you think what has to come through, like for clients and users to keep up with it? So to keep up with all the Atlassian ecosystem developing and actually succeeding and using and leveraging it to the full potential that it has. So what does it take for the clients and partners and customers to make it successful for them?
So first, it's actually the other way around. It's not just like what's out there. It is what is the problem that I want to solve, right? Yeah. So for users, I would say just like, don't just like go and see all the shiny solutions that are out there. Does it solve your problem? Maybe part of it. So first, just like think about what is the real problem that I have in my job? What solutions are possible out there? What solution is the best fit? And we heard there's already doing metrics or whatever around that. And then what is the best solution, the best supported solution out there that I can take? There's a lot out there, and as you said, 2,000 apps for cloud alone, marketplace apps for I think Jira Cloud alone. There's a lot to pick from, and I'm so long in this industry that in this marketplace that I also saw like, yeah, there were some single developers that were having a great idea, putting out their app, and then after 2 years they got a new job and couldn't support it anymore. And then people were sticking around with that app. So also look at, as I said, how mature is the company that has that app. But yeah, it is with every tool is just like it's a tool, right? And a fool with a tool is still a fool. We just made them faster. So it's a people. It is the people that need to just like see what's the problem? How do we solve that? And can an app help us to do that? That would be my answer to that.
Anyone else?
But there's a lot of going on.
Yeah.
And if you want to know what's all going on, come to Vegas in 2 weeks to Team 24. It's an Atlassian event, and all the big marketplace vendors will be there. You can just like get informed about what Atlassian has new, what the marketplace vendors are just like announcing. So there's a lot. I have a discount code if you want. You get $1,000 off. So come to me afterwards, and then I see you in Vegas.
Yeah, thank you for advertisement.
Just a little ad.
That's fun. Good. Anyone else? Anything to add or? No? Okay. So as you know, our nice discussion will be coming to the finish line soon. It's like maybe very maybe expected question. So what do you think? What does the future stand for Atlassian ecosystem? Like how would you see it in 10 years, for example, from now? So would we be sitting here like today, or as in the Vegas in the team summit, or there would be somehow differently the things happening after, let's say, 10 years from now? So we do some round here, so volunteers.
Well, I can think of that AI will be the next thing to take over Atlassian products. I just saw some weeks ago, AI helping to build Jira automations just by a prompt. So I can see in a few months, maybe AI helping to write a sprint goal based on the stories that I'm adding to the sprint, or maybe already warning me if I will be able to complete my sprint based on my last sprint velocities, based on the story points that I'm sending on my current sprint. So I believe that AI will be in a lot of more functionalities of Jira and Confluence and Bitbucket and so on.
I agree.
Good one.
Okay.
I'll elaborate. For me personally, I like to seek out technical challenges. So when the whole move to cloud first happened, that was kind of a challenge for me. I might even have felt threatened a little bit, because now I cannot use my skill set. Doesn't apply as much. Well, we're a few years later now, and I feel different about it now. And I've noticed people around me feel different about this also. I think the move to cloud has been adopted by marketplace vendors and by Atlassian also, by offering, in what I find interesting, the developments on Forge. And it's getting really interesting again. And that I would like to add that. So for me, I see a future still technically, and I can now focus just on different things. It's easier now to integrate with other apps. So this is the part that I found interesting, and it actually cloud enables that. So I see a future there, and yeah, the AI part, I do agree. It's gonna maybe it's all settling down, but I think the fun is just getting started. But it's not a magic pill. We still have to do the work, and that's where we consultants come in, and we can help the customers better, I believe. So, yeah, I think there's a lot coming for the coming 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. If I look at the future, yeah, technology-wise, yeah, we're all moving with the technology, right? There's a lot of just like data-centric right now. eazyBI is just like at the core of that. So we get more data-centric, we get more AI-focused. Security is another thing that we need to look at. So all of this would just like also be represented in the marketplace. But also where Atlassian is moving, if you see just like larger companies, so apps need to be more scalable. App vendors need to look at that to make their apps more scalable, because bigger instances or bigger customers with more users will be there. So we're moving more into the enterprise customer space, and also Atlassian is moving more from a tool vendor for software teams to a tool vendor for all the teams, and we will see more apps coming there to help HR teams, to help marketing teams, to help legal teams with their specific use cases. So also there will be new marketplace vendors, or the existing marketplace vendors will offer apps for those groups too, because these become Atlassian customers and they have special needs again. And we need to just like, the marketplace vendors will fill that gap too. So I see these things are actually coming, and we hopefully get some good apps to just like tear down the silos between the different departments within the organizations. Now that Atlassian is expanding to more departments within organizations, also marketplace. There's a good mark for marketplace vendors and apps to help us better collaboration.
So from my side, I wanted to add. So I like the saying that it's very hard to predict, especially future. So for the past, we can always find the explanation why something happened, and so therefore it's sometimes just safer to invest in things that maybe will not change, and maybe be safe for different changes. For example, we endorse the migration to the cloud, but we still currently we see that for us it's beneficial that we can provide the same eazyBI for cloud and for the data center. And so we are okay with customers using either one platform or another platform, so we are not just doing bet on one thing and not so dependent on that. And then there are some other things that it's safe to invest, for example, good customer support. So it is safe to bet on that in the long term. So it will not change after the 10 years, so customers will value that. Invest that your products are performing faster. So no one has complained that, well, my software is running too fast. So, you always can improve that. Or it's always safe to invest in making these complex things simpler. So no one has complained that, well, I would like that it's more complicated. So that's why we are always trying to find and improve the product to be faster, to be simpler, and then provide good customer support, and then provide good relationships with the partners, and we also enable partners with doing some new business with eazyBI. And so I hope that these core things will not change in 10 years, and we'll still be able to be part of this beautiful ecosystem.
I think, Raimonds, we couldn't finish with a nicer, let's say, wrap-up of the discussion today. Basically, that's all. No questions from my side anymore, but I do have this audience microphone in my hand. So do you have any questions or wide range of speakers? Yes.
Oh. Check. Okay, perfect. Hi. I have a question concerning AI because, I know that we don't have to believe everything which is told by the media, but I have a couple of concerns concerning the jobs, because I have the impression that AI has a kind of a progression rate which is second to none. We are talking about ChatGPT, which started like one and a half years ago, and the innovation progress is insane. And me as a soon-to-be partner, or I just want to have an answer, maybe from you, Raimonds, or the other colleagues. What can we do preventing losing our jobs as consultants?
So I recently have participated in some other panels discussing this topic as well. And so one thing is that regarding some media, so mostly what you hear, that there are some people who don't understand the technology speaking about this technology and telling others who don't understand it about it. And so you don't need to believe all of that. And from the other side, so currently it is used just for many just to raise their stock price, or just get investors, and therefore, or then motivate others to buy their chips to do that. So, of course, so as any new technology, it's overhyped. And so currently, well, from one side, it's very progressing, but so financially, so not all who are investing in these AI, so probably also Atlassian investing in AI, so probably they are not laying off their customer support because of that. So it's not that, many others as well, so not, well, programmers are learning how to use AI, but not, so they are not laid off in masses because of that, so they are just learning it. And I would tell that it's just a new technology that can help you do things better. And so initially when the programmers were writing code in machine code, or later in assembly, so they were not laid off because some higher well, that was initial idea when the COBOL was invented. Well, now the people can just write in English in COBOL language. We don't need programmers anymore. But so it didn't happen. And the same with SQL. And then currently these are new set of technologies that you should investigate and learn, and as all the time you should learn these new technologies, but you can be more powerful, but still, as I mentioned in my presentation, so that you need well, programmers or consultants, so you need to understand, evaluate this result which was found or generated, and so it can automate some things, but so that all the time. So we are using more powerful tools, and so you just need to learn these tools. So I don't see that what others are telling that we won't need any programmers after some while. Not really buying into that.
I have a further question concerning this one, because this new tool will help us getting a quicker solution for use cases. And in which grade do we need in the future? In the future, do we need to learn everything in eazyBI that much in detail? Because if we listen to the CEO of NVIDIA, for example, he said like something like, we don't need to learn programming languages anymore since we have AI. So
I watched this video, but so actually, he said a little bit differently. So he kind of said that everyone will become a programmer with these technologies, and so that I would definitely. And in the for the partners and for us as vendors as well. So it's not enough if we are just good programmers. So we need to understand the customer's business to create something valuable. And so what he was actually telling. So from one side, of course, so he's CEO of NVIDIA, and so he's interested so that a lot of companies are buying NVIDIA chips, and so therefore need to make some controversial statements. So you need to take his sayings with a grain of salt. But from other, so he was kind of also saying that everyone will be a programmer. Just these are sometimes maybe even higher level languages, and like myself, we are using, for example, Ruby language and not writing in Java or in assembly, because so that's higher level language. And so for particular tasks, this AI would be also a programming language, but as I mentioned as well, so that it's still maybe good side effect will be that people will learn again to write clearly, express their intent to LLMs, because so then you can get the results better as well. So you and so it's still these technologies can't guess your mind, and so learning to write better and more clearer might be valuable as well. So, any other comments about that?
Thank you.
Good. And yeah, just throw it back. So, guys, we will finish at this. One more question. Okay, let's go.
Really sorry, it is AI related again. Bugger, eh? I completely agree with what you're saying. Like, I understand like the idea, but the automation progress happened the same way. People had to retrain, understand automation. They thought we were going to lose their jobs. They didn't. Same with the assembly line on cars, no different, right? But as you move away from the tool sets that you work with all the time, your understanding gets less, right? You're less deep into the code. You take a step away, and every step away you take, you have less understanding. Now, as somebody that is utilizing your systems and services, I want trust in to know that you're making the right decisions around particularly data privacy and security. So when you're utilizing these tools that you're talking about, such as code creation and help, what steps are you taking to ensure that data privacy leaks don't come in, security leaks don't come in? Because as someone that depends on you, I'd like to hear a nice answer.
So one thing, it's always good that you clearly explain so what data are you using and what are you sharing outside and not. And so Atlassian is quite have the good pages describing that, so how Atlassian Intelligence works, and so what we have also described, and so what you need to understand. And so in our case, we definitely take privacy very seriously, and we try to. So without your explicit permission, so we will never share your data outside of this container that we are having in our app. And so I think, so what we as providers can do, so we just need to tell explicitly how this works, and what data is shared, like in our case that we explicitly tell that only this prompt that you are writing will be sent somewhere else and to this particular provider. And no, well, that's my...
Maybe I was unclear. Maybe I can just re-express it. What concerns me is when you utilize something like code suggestion and you bring in a function that you don't really understand what it does. And that inevitably brings in vulnerabilities that can be exposed, which leads us to a security problem. What sort of methodologies are you teaching your developers so they can be careful of that?
Well, so for developers, I definitely say that you never, so in that sense, these large language models are just glorified Stack Overflow. So previously, we had the same, so you could just search on Stack Overflow and then just copy, if you just copied, pasted code from Stack Overflow and didn't understand what it does, then it was bad. So now if you just generate the code and if you don't understand what it does, so that's bad as well. So therefore, so for such kind of developers who did that previously, so probably there won't be any job anymore. But so that's not the case in our case. We have just senior developers who understand the code, and also we value always the less code, the better. And that's my general recommendation. That we will need, we can reduce the time maybe to finding some code, but then if you want to use some code, so you definitely need to understand, so reading and understanding the code, so that will be the core part of your job in the future.
Let me add to that. That's right now what AI is doing. They just write code that they have, the model has been trained with open source code or whatever, I don't know, and they write code, and we have to still validate as developers if this code is quality-wise good, security-wise good, and so on. Over time, we will maybe trust the AI more. That might be, it's the same as we trust the assembler, right? That translated directly to machine code. It's fine. Maybe, I don't know, I wasn't a developer at that age, but maybe it was the same that people were looking at COBOL and then just what does it do, right? And it needs time that we trust it. And right now, I wouldn't trust actually the code that the AI gives me. I need to read it. As a senior developer, I want to read it. Over time, maybe this will change. Who knows, right? Who can predict the future? I can't. Coda couldn't. No one can. Really. So I don't know. But right now, how the models are right now and how we do code generation right now, I would always look at it. It's the same when you type something in Atlassian Analytics and it translated, or in Jira, and it translated to JQL. Could be totally rubbish. I don't know. We're trying to do our best to give you the best thing, but it could. But you need to look at the JQL that the AI creates and say, yeah, it's giving me the right results, or no, there's something wrong with it right now.
Probably we will, as we do code reviews now, so probably in the future, so one large language model will generate the code and the second one will do the code reviews, and so then they will chat between themselves until the pull request will be merged when they agree that it's correct code.
Nuclear power plant to just
I think that's a pretty nice perspective for the next years to come. So it's great to have you, and I feel that the discussion is open, and let's continue. Let's continue in the evening part after one more session that we have to run. So I will thank gentlemen, all of you, for participating in this panel discussion. Rodrigo, Stefan, Sven, and Raimonds, thank you very much.